I think I'm hearing, is it Dani? Uh-oh. Now I've lost you, but I heard you for a second. Okay, I am out here on San Ysidro Road. I'm with Robert Lyons, and we are going to find out what he has to say about the fire that you've been watching before me. You seem to know that some kind of line blew. Can you tell me more?
Okay, about a half an hour ago, we live on San Ysidro Lane, and I noticed this huge ball of fire light outside, and I walked outside, and looking toward Park Lane beyond San Ysidro Ranch, there was a huge ball of fire 75 feet to 100 feet tall. And it struck me that it was probably a gas line, given the fact that, you know, we've seen video of other gas lines blowing. And then a guy from the Montecito Fire Department came up in a truck about 20 minutes ago, and I pointed over to that direction. And then he went up through Casa de Maria. And so we're sitting right here at the corner of Mountain Drive and...
I'm going to move so that they can see over this way. Go ahead.
We're at Mountain Drive and San Ysidro Lane. And basically the San Ysidro Ranch is right there, and beyond that is where the gas main blew. It's definitely a gas main.
Did you hear it?
I just saw a huge flash of fire, and we looked outside, and I said, my God, the whole neighborhood looks like it's on fire. Then I went outside, and I could see that it was just the size of the flame and the fact we're at night. But you can see there, those flames, they're way up there. I mean,
we could see them from the 101 as
Yeah.
well, and it's ironic because I don't know if you can see this, but there's one of those fire danger signs right in our background here. Can you tell me, Robert, if you were part of the evacuation area and what brought you here?
Okay, well, basically, we are part of the evacuation area. We've lived here since 1964, so we've lived through El Nino and that kind of thing with the debris flows and stuff, so we knew that our property is not going to be flooded.
My producer's asking how many homes are in this area, but you're saying that's not necessarily a home.
I don't know what it is. It's
Okay.
it's a gas main on the other side. It appears to be like on Park Lane.
On Park Lane.
Yeah.
Well, we will be breaking down and heading over that way. But in this area, how many homes are right in this area? Because if it moved this way, they'd have to really get you out of here.
Well, yeah, I know that there are, a couple hundred homes around here, but there's a lot of space between the houses because of the acre zoning that we have. And of course, the place has been soaked. So the thing that's driving this fire, obviously, is the gas line.
All right, well,
and
thank
then
you.
if they can shut that down, then they can probably tame it.
Well, I really appreciate you telling us how to get over that way, because I'm going to say goodbye to Robert Lyons here. But we were on the 101, and you could see that glow. And just to get here, there was so much mud and debris, and all happened in about 30 minutes because we were actually just driving the 192, driving around even East Valley earlier today, and about 3 o'clock this morning, there wasn't a whole lot on the roads. And then it just turned down to this muddy river, really slippery, and there were parts of the 101 that you just couldn't see, and that was down near the 150. So it took us a while to get here. We were going to break down, and we're going to drive safely around that corner to give you a better view, and we will check in with you as soon as we can. Reporting live in Montecito, Tracy Lair, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Kelsey. Or thank you very much, Tracy. Oh, Tracy Lair reporting. All right, we're going to send things out to Tracy Lair this morning. She's in the Montecito area with a fire. It appears to be a house fire in the area. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, Dani. I'm in an area where you can sort of see the whole picture. The whole picture is a lot of mud, a lot of rocks, a lot of pieces of trees and branches. And if you look up over this area of this driveway, there is a fire behind this house behind me. We've been trying to walk to it, but I want to just show you how deep the mud is. I have pretty decent shoes on, but it's almost to the top of them, and we were trying to walk this way. This might look like it's ground, but when you step on this, it looks like ground, but it's still this mud. And this is what you're dealing with in every driveway that is below the Thomas Fire footprint. It is nothing, as Kelsey was saying, it's denuded. There's nothing holding the dirt like the roots from the shrubs that burned during the Thomas Fire, the largest wildfire in state history. And this is what happens when you have a heavy rain. They say this is a one-off, meaning there's not a back-to-back storm. We should be grateful for that, because this is bad enough. And right now it's not coming down as much as it was, but this is just one driveway between a few houses, and we can't even walk to the car that's over there because this is too deep in mud, and all of these rocks weren't here just about an hour and a half ago. We don't know exactly what's burning on the other side of that road, but one person said it was some kind of a gas line, but it does look like something smoldering, which easily could be a house in the Montecito neighborhood. We just can't seem to get there because every time we turn, there's more boulders and more trees just blocking the road. And fire trucks are having the same problem trying to get around to help people out. One thing I can say that's good about this area is this is an evacuated area and there is no one around, meaning they got out when they should have gotten out. But it won't be fun for them to come back in and see this mess and hopefully not have too much mud in their houses. It just really depends on the elevation of these houses and where they are below the fire line. Reporting live in Montecito, Tracy Lair, back to you.
Tracy, you bring up a great point there. You're talking about the evacuations and you know, you and Ryder have encountered a lot of hazards on the roads just driving around this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So many. Well, we drove and drove thinking, okay, we're going to find something to show you. And around 3 o'clock, we're like, nothing's happening. We're so grateful. Then we get on the 101 at the 150 and had such a hard time getting back to Montecito. It was like a whiteout, and the only real cars on the road were big semi trucks, you know, that shoot up that water at you. And at that point, I remember thinking that we need to start going wall-to-wall coverage because it just seemed so dangerous. Then we got off at San Ysidro because we were following the flames from that fire and had such a hard time. I mean, even you know, big tires can't get around these kind of boulders. There are just all kinds of rocks in the road that just flowed down, and the same thing goes for tree limbs. And then when you see the mud, you think it's stable like a driveway, but you walk in it and you realize, you know, you really have to be careful. I mean, you could easily lose your footing and go down. And I am just, I'm not like trying to fake this and show you how deep it is. I have to walk through it being this deep just to get to back in the car. So this is no laughing matter. This is exactly a textbook what the Office of Emergency Management was saying would happen. It's why they wanted people out of their homes at noon, because evacuating when you can see is a lot easier than at night. And we sure saw a lot of cars trying to leave Montecito tonight, which is unfortunate because they probably were waiting to the last minute.
Thank you very much, Tracy. You and Ryder be safe out there. We're going to check back in with you in a little bit, but great report. I'm really glad she mentioned how dangerous it is to be on those roads that was hit. This video taken at about 4:15 this morning. Tracy Lair has been out there, and just one of the things is she can't get closer to the homes.
Yeah.
We're trying to get a better look at that fire right now, but we can't because those roads are so muddy right now, and it is so dangerous. All right, good morning, everybody. It's 5:30. I'm Danny Max.
And I'm Stacey Sakai.
We're going to go quickly out to Tracy Lair.
Yeah, she's joining us live from Montecito. And Tracy, let us know what you're seeing right now.
I can tell you, we're talking about the homes that we think are on Park Lane that are burning, that the rain is helping them. Just down this way, there was a huge glow about 15 minutes ago, and now you can tell there's a flame type light, but it is much darker in the sky. And I am sort of in an area of Montecito behind Park Lane, behind the footprint of the Thomas fire, and I actually brought a shovel because I just knew it might get bad. And I just want to show you that this might look like it's, you know, sturdy, but when you step in it, this is what it is. And I just want to show you with my shovel, there's a bunch of plants. This plant just came right out of the ground. And if you can, I'm going to walk with the shovel just to stabilize me to show you that it looks like a gazebo of some kind might have just collapsed in this area and was pushed right up along this fence. But I'm just using the shovel just to make sure I don't fall. There is a bunch of debris here and some, like a wooden chair. It almost looks like there was some kind of structure that just collapsed. And it, like a river of mud, just flowed down this way. There are boulders, if you can see behind me, and this is sort of a river of mud that just goes around to the back side of the homes that we think were burning. But this is just happened so fast when the water was coming down. If I can, I'll try to see if a rider can show the fire on the back side of this house. There's some kind of cottages here, and they're is a glow in the sky, and we heard there were at least 2 structures burning near Park Lane. We were talking to a resident earlier tonight. We were on Mountain Drive by San Ysidro, and you could see like 15-foot flames a little over an hour ago, and that resident was saying he believed that some kind of a gas line broke, and that's possible. When the rain started coming down, people heard sort of explosions, but all I can say is that rain seems to be helping to snuff out the fires, but there is so much damage, not even from fire right now. You can tell that people are going to return to homes and have their doors just kicked in by these rivers of mud. I just want to show you how thick it is just a little over here. Everywhere you go, it is thick mud. It's just, and it gets thicker as you walk down that way, and I just didn't want to get too far down that way because we so easily could get stuck. The rain is consistent, the roads are a mess, and I might even have to use this shovel to get our car out of here because there's a lot of debris in the roadways. And you just don't want to go out. I believe Marisa was saying, if you don't have to go anywhere tomorrow, don't. So, reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair. Back to you.
Elsie, thank you very much. We're going to go back out to the field now where Tracy Lair has been braving the conditions as well.
Yeah, muddy conditions, a lot of debris. What can you tell us about what you're seeing now, Tracy?
I can tell you that for the first time I can put my hat back. It is not raining that hard right now, but it looks like a river ran through East Mountain Drive. This is East Mountain Drive, what was East Mountain Drive. It is a mud flow all the way down, and if you walk over, just over this way, you can see the water running down it. But this area is thick, thick mud, and it curves all the way down where you can see debris. And if to the right of this home on the 800 block of East Mountain Drive, it looks like this mud just pushed in the wooden gates at this house. Moments ago, a Montecito fire truck swerved around here to head up this road, and it is on the back side of where we saw some houses burning. They were literally on fire about an hour ago, but because of the rain, I think it snuffed some of that out. And you were mentioning, Dani, that it adds insult to injury. These homes that survived the fire are now going to be mud damaged, and a lot of people are going to be coming back when they can clear these roads to check that out. And some might make it, but others are going to have some damage, and we're seeing that here. And how hard it is for the fire trucks to get through all of these roads in Montecito. It is just a stunning thing. And around 3:30, I was driving around with Ryder. We were looking for places to show and tell this story. And you could drive the 192. You could drive along the areas of Summerland and the Canyon roads. But right now you can't, because every road in this area that is downhill from this burn area, the Thomas Fire, looks like this. There are boulders, rocks, and debris. And you can see, in addition, just the water running downhill. But at least it seems that the rain is not as hard as it was. It was just coming down like crazy when they were closing the 101 freeway. Reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair.
And Tracy Lair is actually out there right now in one of those spots that's just been devastated by the mud that's been coming down, and she started to talk to people that are out there.
Yeah, and Tracy, along with the people you're talking to, you were saying it was almost whiteout conditions while you and your photographer were trying to maneuver and get to where you needed to go.
That's right, and I just took off a rain jacket, and now all of a sudden it's raining more. I am here with Eric Ozelins, and we're in Montecito, right near the freeway. We were trying to show you why it's closed, and we actually found out that a lot of people are on this area. It's like an island because there's so much rain, and Eric's home is right behind us. Eric, what is with your car in the driveway?
Well, the creek flooded, and it happened in about 10 or 15 seconds from a driveway out to my wife couldn't make it. My wife and kids are still in the house. I made it out. When I figured out it was flooding, I tried to come back, and I got out of the car. There was a police officer blocking the way, and I walked up, and before I knew it, I was waist deep in rushing kind of ash mud. So I had to retreat, park my car. Now I think it's safe to get back to the house, so I'm going to just kind of walk back in here. But I understand that our back driveway, the cars are flooded. Furniture's floated around in our patio area from what my wife's told me. And fortunately, our house is elevated. Our house is okay. There's a lot of bad things that have happened in this community this morning and over the last month. So I think we're pretty lucky, actually.
Tell me, you said that you thought you were evacuating a fire because you saw the fire in Montecito.
Sure. Yeah, we woke up because of the orange glow on our north side windows, and when we looked out the window, it was sort of explosive. It was billowing in a way that felt more threatening at this location than the Thomas fires. And I know the Thomas fire was more threatening, to those people. But from here, this felt more threatening. We left because of the fire. And as I said, I pulled the car out, everything was fine. My wife was 10 seconds behind me with the kids, and she couldn't make it out. So I thought I was fleeing fire, and it turns out we have a big flood situation.
Well, I hope you're well. I know you have pets in a car over here, but it's warm in there, and now you're going to try to get back there.
Yeah.
But at least you can get there without a car.
I'm glad to go home right
All right,
now and see my
go
kids.
on.
All right,
thank you, Eric.
Hey, thanks, you guys.
Just so you know, Eric Ozelins isn't alone. There are a lot of people over on this side of the freeway. I am literally just south of the Miramar Hotel, the one they're building on the 101. You would think that the mud would stay on the inland side of the freeway, but this mud flow has crossed the freeway now with the rain, and I am just maybe yards here. Eric is heading back into his house. Look how deep that mud is. They were evacuating because they saw the flames on the other side of the highway over on Park Lane, where we think at least one house was burning and a power line. So they were evacuating because of those flames, and now he is almost up to his thighs in mud, and he's trying to get back to his family and his house. At least two of his cars are stuck in the mud, and if I can, I just want to show you the train tracks down are also stopped. There is a train vehicle on the tracks down there. So you've got the 101 stopped at Montecito, just south of the Miramar. You've got people with their homes in the mud on the ocean side of the freeway. And there are a lot of people out here with cars, and they're just not sure where they're going to go, because as we went around this street, we thought it was shallow, but it is not. And so it is dangerous out here, although the rain isn't as thick as it was, but it is a good sign that that it is getting light out, because there are rescues going on, and that will definitely help all the first responders, and we've seen quite a few. Reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair. Back to you.
Tracy, this isn't even a voluntary evacuation zone, is it? This is completely on the other side of the freeway.
It is not. This is what's so amazing. We were showing you East Mountain Road a little bit ago, and we were told to go check out the freeway. We could see the Miramar, and then we turned off because you could tell that there were cars in water on the freeway. So when we turned off to this little road just south of the Miramar, we really thought that we could get through, but you're really not supposed to go through standing water. This is mud. We got through it, but we're not so sure if we should even attempt going back there. And Eric Ozelins, who lives in this house right here, has at least 2 cars that are impacted by mud. He says there's furniture on the patios. They don't know about inside, and they did get 1 car out, and now it looks like we're going to have some kind of a train vehicle coming through. So we're going to move out and toss it back to you because we want to be safe. Back to you in the studio.
Tracy, thanks. Yeah, get out of the way of the train there. Train's obviously not running, but it may be one of the cars coming through that kind of observes what's happening on the tracks.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Here is a live look. This is near the railroad tracks in Montecito. This is out of an evacuation zone. This is just where this mud has been pushed to, as you're seeing a car buried in it this morning. Our live coverage of this massive California storm that has moved through the Thomas Fire burn area continues next over at Fox 11 at 7 o'clock.
Time to get out of the way. And now we're going to get things out to Tracy Lair. She's been out there since the storm started early this morning. Tracy, where are you at right now, and what can you tell us?
I'm on Post Aleppo Road in Montecito on the beach side of the 101, and I'm with Eric Ozelins. Am I saying that right? Ozelins, my apologies, who has been trying to get out to evacuate with his family. Just tell me a little bit about your ordeal.
Well, so this morning we left because of a fire. There was a big orange glow to the north. It was real scary. Obviously, we're all very fire aware after the last month we've been through. And this looked pretty horrific. I can imagine something really bad happened somewhere today. It felt kind of explosive, and we said, you know what? Let's go. Let's just get out of here. It's weird that there's a fire in this much rain, but let's go. And we decided to take 2 cars. We had 4 pets, 2 kids. I came out as the first car, and there was a police officer, somebody blocking our driveway, said, hey, open up the driveway, excuse me. I drove out. I saw my wife coming back in the second car, pulling out in the second car, and then all of a sudden she backed up. So I went forward about 100 yards and I stopped and waited for her. She didn't come. The police officer was there. And I decided to walk back because there was a few cars stuck here and I couldn't tell what was going on. I decided to walk back. And as I came across the creek here, all of a sudden I was up almost to my waist in flowing mud and ash. And it was scary.
You can show without showing too much. You can show this mud.
Oh, it's quite deep.
This is you
Yeah,
trying
this
to walk
is,
your pets back.
Yeah.
That's thigh high. That's a few feet of mud.
Yeah.
And it's in your backyard.
Well, my house fortunately is elevated, so our house is a bit of an island right now, elevated. But our yard, and you can kind of get a sense for it here, it floods all the way through. It broke our gate, broke a fence, opened the gate.
You have a boat there.
And, yeah, well, we may need it. And we may need, oh, the laser's floating. It hasn't done that in quite a while. So anyhow, I had to sit there for about an hour and ultimately reached my wife and kids by text. And I sat there waiting for it to subside. In the dark. It was quite scary, actually. There was the moment I was calling my dad, come out, can you help me? I got to get back to him now.
Just so people know, you were watching the fire over near Park Lane. How big were the flames that you could see?
It wasn't the flames, it was the orange glow and this kind of exploding cloud sort of sensation. It really felt the sort of thing that was billowing out of control. And like I say, that's why we left. We had no idea there was a flood situation.
But how far are we away from the Thomas Fire burn?
Oh, we're probably 2 miles as the crow flies.
And this mud is from that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it probably got here very quickly. Once it really rained, there's nothing to hold it back.
And right on this side, we're looking at the beach. It's just
yeah,
right down
the railroad
that
tracks are acting as sort of a dam and holding this back, and the creeks are overflowed, so they can't.
And finally, what will you do now?
Well, I'm going to go back inside. I'm happy that my kids and wife are safe. Everything's great. We've got a little island there, and I think I'm going to wash off as well I can.
I'm going to turn on this way. We want to just get out of the way to show that mud. Eric, there, you have a neighbor that's going to come help us try to work out with our car.
Yeah,
I'll let you go.
I may ask him to do the same.
Thing because you have one car stuck over here. But what would you say to people that are trying to turn on this street?
I would say absolutely. I'd say stay home today. Even if you think that, hey, I live in Goleta, everything's okay at my high ground. The freeway system, I mean, the 101's been closed for the last couple hours that I know of, and there's a lot of bad things happening. I'd say stay home, call in, do what you can, but don't come here. That's one thing I would say.
Well, you have a great attitude. We want you to be safe. If you go back, we might just sort of eavesdrop and watch you walk that way.
Sure. I was hoping to maybe watch.
Oh, you are? Yeah, go for that. Go to the neighbor. We have a neighbor over behind us that is trying to bring us a hose, because if you can get the mud off the cars, you might be able to get them going again. So that's what he's doing. Why don't we just show that real quick, and then we'll throw it back. So this is Eric's car, where he tried to evacuate and his car got stuck over here, and he's trying to get some of the mud off and see if he can get it started again, because the mud can really mess up your car. And the 101 is closed at this point because of all the mud flow and debris. So a lot of people going through a lot of drama and trauma out here, but they know that other people have it much worse. Reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair.
Thank you very much, Marissa. We're going to send things out now to Tracy Lair. She's been in Jameson Lane all morning, where it's been absolutely flooded over there. Tracy, what can you tell us?
I am out on Post Aleppo Lane, which is off the 101 just south of the Miramar Hotel. We have been watching a helicopter circle here. It looks like a search and rescue chopper. It is just making round after round. And there are freeway problems here, so we're not sure if they're looking for someone or just surveying the damage here. But there is damage here. This mud flow came all the way from the other side of the 101 freeway. We're on the ocean side, and we were interviewing a resident and his son of this house over this way. They were trying to escape when 2 homes were on fire around 4 o'clock this morning. They could see the flames over near Park Lane. They got in their cars. It was dark. They didn't see all this mud, and they got stuck over on this side. In addition to those cars that are buried, there are 2 Teslas in the backyard. It is about thigh high in mud in the backyard. However, the house is a little higher, and they think the first floor is okay. But there were some other neighbors here trying to do their morning walk. They say they sometimes walk over to Starbucks. Well, that's just not happening because this mud is too thick. The train tracks here are not happening, and there's that chopper. I just want you to take a look at this. I am not sure what they're looking for, but this is about the 10th time they've made this round. Now, it's possible that they're trying to make a rescue or trying to give people on the ground some information, but they've been flying very low in a search mode, and we just don't know exactly what they're doing. But hopefully we'll be able to get some more information and bring it to you. But this is the scene on Montecito, just south of the Miramar, on the ocean side of the freeway, which is closed, and it just shows that that mud came from 2 miles away from the Thomas Fire burn area all the way down here to these train tracks. Reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair.
No power out there right now.
All right, we're going to get things out to Tracy Lair. She joins us now. She's been in the field all morning long. And Tracy, what can you tell us?
Dani, I just want to show you that this is muddy and it's pretty deep. I'm going to walk right out, but as you go back here, it gets a lot deeper, and in the dark, a lot of neighbors were trying to get out. We actually crossed this mud. Our car works, but we're concerned about getting the other side. These neighbors are stuck. The neighbors over here are stuck, and they don't have any power either. And we did talk to one of the neighbors over here a little while ago, and this is on Aleppo Road, and he came out because they were trying to evacuate when they saw the fire on the other side of the freeway, and then they got stuck, moved a car over on this side, and then they went back in. But they have 2 Teslas in the backyard. They have 2 cars that are pretty much halfway up the mud on the top of the wheel, and it's just a big problem. Neighbors were hoping to walk across here, and they can't get out. They have no power. They're somewhat stranded, and it's hard to believe that we're on the ocean side of the 101, which is closed right here, and most of the mud flow came from 2 miles away where the Thomas Fire footprint is, and where so much damage happened overnight. But the good part is that it's daylight, and the rescuers can see what they're doing, and also the people that are coming in cars can see not to go there, which they couldn't really see at night because it just didn't look like it was a problem area, and so many streets are problems. We're seeing helicopters flying overhead. Some people say they're looking for some people that left a car. We don't know that. We heard there was some aerials of our own car, that looked stranded, but our car works. We're just not so sure if we're going to drive that way to get out of here. Reporting live in Montecito, I'm Tracy Lair.
We are going to turn things over to Tracy Lair, who is live in the field. Tracy, you've been out there all morning long. What can you tell us?
Oh, I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm going to just start. I think I might have lost you, but I want you to know that these images might be disturbing. So just be forewarned of that. I'm out here on Olive Mill Road, and you have emergency responders, including the military, coming to take the remains of someone who died in this natural disaster away. I'm on Olive Mill Road, and we are by the train tracks. If you could, Ryder, just show how much is flowing that way, and I will try to see if I can get back so that you can hear me. You should be allowed to hear me. Okay, we are on Olive Mill Road. This is the train track. There's a lot of flooding. This debris flow came with that big, huge water spout that just dumped on Montecito around 4:30. And right now you have the military coming in to take remains away of somebody who lost their life in this disaster. You can hardly get here. We came through the train tracks, and it's very unfortunate. They are still trying to find out if anyone else was hurt. There are people that live here that can't get to their homes. The power is out. And let's just take a moment here, and they're trying to just do this in an honorable way. And the only truck that could get in here is this armored vehicle. And this is with the Sheriff's Department. And I'm not sure if you can hear me in the studio. I'm hoping you can. I'm just checking my mic for everything. And here comes another helicopter. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, I didn't hear you. I'm just going to start this over again. I'm on Olive Mill Road, and the sheriffs have just come to take the remains of someone who died in this disaster away. We're in Montecito, and there's a sheriff's helicopter flying overhead, and there is so much flooding and debris. I'm going to see if Ryder can just show you a little bit this way. Ryder, can you follow me over this way? So we're right by the Montecito Del Mar. We're on the, it's a private drive. If you look this way, this is the debris flow that is blocking the train traffic And now people can't get by train, they can't get through the 101, and a lot of people are here trapped in their homes without power. This debris flow includes some really bizarre things. It looks like there are mattresses, there is a surfboard, there is patio furniture, there are ladders. It is just hard to believe. I'm not even sure what that container looks like, but that came a long way down this street. And then I'll just let you look back this way. There are people with the trains. You can hear that sound still blaring, and they are walking the line, just trying to make sure there's nobody else out there. Again, back over this way, there's the sheriff's deputies, and they're about to drive out of here with the remains of someone who lost their life. And they talked about this being a tragedy, and this really is ground zero for that. I just wanted to show you up the street. Olive Mill goes all the way to the 101. There are people just walking outside to look at what's happening, and you just have to take a moment.
Tracy, this is Joey.
I'm being told by another journalist that there's 2 people trapped inside a home up that road. Oh yes, on the 2nd floor, and that's why there's so many people, so many first responders trying to get to this area. But this area is really hard to get to, and yet the people that have these big waders on are making their way up and down the street. But right now, the big heroes here are the sheriff's deputies that made their way down here to remove the remains of someone who died in this disaster, because it was here for quite a while, and they warned us when we got here, that what we would see, and it's just a tough thing to see. I'm just wondering if you can see the boulders on the corner that way. These are major boulders that came down from the mountain and crossed the freeway all the way Olive Mill Road. We're very close to the Ritz, to the north. To the south, it'd be the Miramar. And this whole area is flooded and muddy. Oh, I just see recognizable faces that are. So you live here and you're without power. Could I talk to you? Okay. It seems like I run into you too often. So,
Jim Witherell.
Hi, Jim.
Nice to see you again.
Can you tell me what you saw out here and what you think of what just happened?
Well, they're recovering the bodies that were swept away from someplace upstream, I guess. There's another body they're picking up on our deck at Bonnie Mead right now, too.
Oh.
So there's 2 that are part of this incident here. It was just a terrible event last night. It started about 4 o'clock. Sounded like a jet engine train. Where we live at Bonnie Mead here, it just roared through there. There's 5-6 feet of mud sometimes in certain places. It's bad.
How did you know that people were in the debris?
Well, I just from the sheriffs when they came to recover the bodies.
Right.
Then I was out here this morning early just to do a recon and brought my larger work truck in so that if anybody needed to evacuate from our complex, I could get them out. Because right now everybody in Bonnie Mead and Montecito Shores is trapped in there, and so if there's a medical issue or something, that would be a problem.
Quite a problem. And can you repeat your name just for our
Jim
viewers?
Witherell.
Jim Witherell. And you have been through other things like this here, but not this kind of a debris.
I was in the Thomas Fire up at the Vedanta Temple and on your newscast
That's right.
a couple of weeks ago.
I just ran into you, so this is the 2nd time.
So, yeah.
This almost seems worse than the fire.
Oh, well, it's so sudden, and the intensity and the force and the power is so overwhelming. Fire, you can see it coming usually, have time to prepare, nothing. And this is in the middle of the night also where everybody's disoriented and